What's going on? Welcome to the 2021 edition of the Off the Schneid preview series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their roster, schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Don't forget to check the description for links for the Off the Schneid social media and interact with me directly. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com, as all roster and depth chart graphics are straight off their site. If you've never been, go check them out immediately. I use their site for all NFL, fantasy, and betting purposes, and there's a link in the description for their site. Again, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button, but enough of that, let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. All right, today we're taking a look at the LA Rams. We will start, as we always do, at the quarterback position. For the first time in a long time, it is not Jared Goff playing quarterback for the LA Rams. It's going to be Matt Stafford, obviously via the trade earlier in the summer there. Just speaking on that, I thought that the Rams gave up a little bit too much. If I'm being honest, it does change some things, which I'll get to in a second, but they gave up 2 first-round picks, a 2022, 2023 first-rounder, as well as a third-round pick. Obviously, when you're the Rams, you're expecting that to be a late first-round pick, and they're not. Obviously, they're just building their team a little differently. I spelled it out a bunch in the team needs video. I did a few, pre-draft. They're not afraid to trade their first-round pick for known assets, and with this trade, it definitely opens up their flexibility contract-wise. Matt Stafford, they could basically, realistically, they could walk away from Matt Stafford right now if they wanted to. They obviously will not be doing that. $20 million cap hit, $10 million dead cap this season. $0 in dead cap next season. So if this experiment blows up in their face, which I don't expect that it will at all, but if it does, they can just move on from Matt Stafford, wash your hands, no problem. You gave up 2 first rounders for that, flexibility, and again, I think that they gave up a little bit too much, considering everybody knew that Matt Stafford was going to move on and the Lions were going to likely move on from Matt Stafford. So when the entire league knows that, I feel like it makes it tough to get, top value for that asset, if that makes any sense. So great trade for the Lions, realistically, 2 firsts and a third, plus a serviceable quarterback that's going to be able to come in and play out, at least that contract while you rebuild. So great trade for the Lions, and it just shows that the Rams are not afraid to trade first-round picks. They're not afraid to make moves if they think they can make their team better. So there you go. There's that trade. Matt Stafford's going to be the starter this season, 100%, and what I expect for them to do with that flexibility is, re-sign them, restructure, whatever it is, to a longer-term contract, and then move around some of that money, free up some salary cap. Salary cap goes up. All kinds of things. Like I said, flexibility. And I think that's going to be, as long as everything works out for the Rams and Matt Stafford, which I do think does happen, then I think it's going to be a great move long term. Backing him up, John Wolford, we saw him a little bit last year, looked okay. I'm really not concerned about the backup position. Matt Stafford's a gamer. Dude's played with broken back, all kinds of stuff. He doesn't miss games. He plays. He's a gamer. He's an absolute gamer. So I expect him to play all 16 games, especially the way that they throw the ball. Quick hitters, get the ball out of his hands. Obviously, he can do more things and more things better than Jared Goff. So it definitely makes your team better and your offense better, obviously. But they do get the ball out of the quarterback's hands fairly quickly. So I think that will make for, even more health and longevity for Matt Stafford. So there you go. Let's move over to the running back position. Malcolm Brown is gone. That's totally fine. I don't see any drop off at the position for the team whatsoever. Cam Akers takes over as the kind of bell cow. I expect him to be a bell cow. I expected him to be a bell cow, last year as a rookie. It didn't quite, come to fruition until late in the season, but we eventually got there. And I think that this year he's going to be that guy. Darrell Henderson is there to spell him. Good complimentary back. He can catch the ball. He can do a lot of good things. But I realistically think that Cam Akers is really going to take over in this offense. Tight ends are in a great spot. Tight ends are in a really good spot for this team. Tyler Higbee obviously returns as probably the the starter, even though early word out of OTAs right now is that Jacob Harris, who's a guy that I really like, has been getting first team reps at tight end. Bit of an undersized guy for the position, but if he can do it, and I think it's evolving, and I'm going to get there in a second. I do want to touch on Bryson Hopkins first. Very good college career at Purdue. He was a 4th round pick last year. I really like Bryson Hopkins. He didn't play much in his rookie season, but I definitely expect him to be on this roster and to kind of be in the mix and just get a little more reps than he did last season. Absolutely. Now, I want to talk more about Jacob Harris quickly. Really love that draft pick. Really like him as a prospect. Just for, argument's sake, and I'm not saying that I'm not about to compare Jacob Harris to Kyle Pitts, but Kyle Pitts, 6'5", 245, ran a 4.4 flat at his pro day. Jacob Harris, 6'5", 220, ran a 4.39 at his pro day. So let's call those 40 times a wash. Let's call it 4.4, whatever, 4.45 if you want. That's blazing speed for tight end. Obviously, I'm not calling them tight ends anymore is kind of what I want to get at here. They're not going to be typical tight ends, these guys, these types of players. And there's a lot more of these guys coming into the league. Even Dan Arnold, former wide receivers at smaller schools, or, the college game just comes a little easier for these guys when you're of that stature and you can run and all that kind of stuff. So Dan Arnold was one of those guys. Kyle Pitts, Jacob Harris, even, potentially a guy like Jalen Hurd on the on the 49ers, 6'4", 6'5", 220, 230, right around there. He's a former running back. I just think that this position is really evolving right now, especially with, offensive minds. Dan Arnold in Arizona last year. We'll see what happens with Kyle Pitts in that offense, but McVay with Jacob Harris here, I think that position is evolving as we speak. There's obviously still going to be room for those hand in the dirt tight ends that absolutely can block and can catch, but I think that there's absolutely going to be some room for some creativity. Obviously, they're a mismatch nightmare, so I'm really interested to see where this position goes and where these two players in specific from this year's draft, Pitts and Harris, how they look in their rookie seasons and moving forward. I'm very excited for that. So just wanted to touch on that quickly and have a quick discussion about those guys. Wide receivers, still in a great spot. Robert Woods, Van Jefferson now slides in, probably to take over Josh Reynolds' role. They lost about 1,000 yards total between Gerald Everett, and Josh Reynolds, both off the team now. But Van Jefferson, 2nd round pick last year, Tutu Atwell, 2nd round pick this year. And then Djax comes over for some speed and just basically a burner, probably running a lot of goes, and big arm Matt Stafford, just throw the ball as far as you can, and hopefully Djax can run under it, kind of a thing. And then, Simba Webster might make the team as a returner type of a guy. So we'll see. They definitely have some depth there. And I don't expect a ton out of Tutu Atwell, considering what Van Jefferson didn't really do last year. So I expect that, those two, their seasons to look their two rookie seasons to look similar, unless Tutu Atwell, returns punts or kicks. But if Simba Webster's there, he might be that guy as well. Offensive line. So I like their offensive line a lot. Obviously, here's another talking point. They've been top 10 or even top 5 in sacks allowed for the past 4 seasons. Last time they were lower than that was 2016, when they were second most sacks allowed in the league. The common denominator there is Andrew Whitworth. He was a Bengal before that, my Bengals, and comes over in 2017. They've been nothing but top 10 and top 5 in sacks allowed since then. Obviously, there's the way the offense is run helps with that. They get the ball out of quarterback's hand as quickly as possible. It's a great way to run your offense, but you can't undermine the value of Andrew Whitworth on this offensive line. I think they're solid all the way through. My only issue is Andrew Whitworth. I mean, what did I just say? But the dude is going to be 40 before the end of this season. He's going to be 40 in December. And, Father Time doesn't wait for anybody, and he's undefeated. So it's going to catch up to him at some point. He did get hurt last year, tore an MCL and damaged his PCL in his knee. I believe he had a torn ACL at one point in his career. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I didn't look, but I believe he had a torn ACL as well. I'm not sure if it was on the same leg or if it even happened. I could be wrong, but there you go. But either way, it's gonna catch up to him, and maybe that's happening right now, considering he missed 7 games last year. Longer schedule this year, more travel, all that kind of stuff. They've done a reasonable job at bringing in guys that can fill in for him if need be. I don't think that they have like the heir apparent for him, which they're going to have to address at some point in a draft or a trade or a free agent acquisition, something. It's going to have to happen. But right now they got Joe Noteboom, who's basically his backup right now. Bobby Evans played a little bit of tackle in left tackle as well in college. Third round pick there. Tremaine Antrim maybe could play that position. I'm not too sure. But then there was an undrafted free agent. Somehow, I don't know how he went undrafted, to be honest with you, because he was the left tackle at Iowa, basically forcing Tristan Wirfs over to the right side. So Tristan Wirfs, who was a first-round pick, obviously Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played on the right side of this offensive line in Iowa because Alaric Jackson was on the left side. Canadian as well, so shout out for that. Out of Windsor, I believe. But either way, I don't know how he went undrafted. I think he had like 40 starts at left tackle and landed in a great spot. So the potential for him is absolutely there. We'll see how it works out, but they definitely still have to replace Whitworth unless one of these guys is that guy, and we'll see, and potentially we'll see this year. So there you go. There's a little breakdown of the offense. Move over to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, new defensive coordinator. Brandon Staley takes off to head coach the Chargers across town, same building, which should be interesting. Raheem Morris comes over from the Atlanta Falcons. He used to be an offensive guy, which is interesting. I like that because he can see the game a little bit differently. Ran a similar type of a defense in Atlanta. Obviously nowhere near the skill that they have here in LA. I mean, Grady Jarrett, I call a poor man's Aaron Donald. No one's like Aaron Donald except Aaron Donald. So, but I really, really, really like Grady Jarrett a lot. I think he's a very underrated football player. But either way, so moving to that side of the ball, they lose a bunch of guys. They lost Morgan Fox, Michael Brockers, and Samson Ebukam, 15.5 sacks. They were second in the league in sacks by their defense. I think it was 53, something like that. Second in the league. And, that's fantastic. I keep saying it, and I do say it a lot. That's kind of the narrative of winning in the NFL right now. Protect your quarterback and get after the opponents. They did a great job of that last year, and they went to the playoffs. So if they can do that again this year, they should be just fine and absolutely likely go back to the playoffs. I think that they do have some guys that can take over those roles and help out and get after the quarterback. Obviously, drafting Bobby Brown, I think, was a fantastic draft pick. Ernest Brown, I didn't particularly love. There were some other guys there that I would have liked as well. But they just have a lot of guys that can chip away and get after the quarterback and, help out kind of a thing. Even Justin Hollins and Troy Reeder both had 3 sacks last year. Terrell Lewis had a couple sacks. And then if Sebastian Joseph Day can kind of take over that Michael Brockers role, I think Leonard Floyd could probably take a step forward And that was an interesting one. He absolutely is obviously flourishing in LA after struggling in Chicago for his first 4 seasons. But either way, I think they've got the pieces to potentially take a step forward, which is crazy, considering I think they were like obviously they were about a top 5 defense last year. I thought that they would struggle a little bit. I was a little too hard on the Rams last year as far as where I thought they were going to end up. I thought they would struggle more on defense, and I was wrong. There you go. I admit it. I was wrong. They were a very good defense. I was right about their offensive struggles. I don't think that continues this season. So, we'll see what I project for a record in a minute here. But let's finish up the defense. Micah Kiser, Troy Reeder, are the linebackers, the inside linebackers on this team. I expect a lot of nickel dime formations. They did draft Robert Rochelle in the draft as well, 4th round pick. I really, really liked him. Darius Williams has been very good for this team. Very good, kind of complementary to Jalen Ramsey. He's getting a little older, a little long in the tooth, but I think, Robert Rochelle, David Long was a 3rd round pick for this team 2 years ago. And then, Jalen Ramsey's just locked down, and, you can basically put him on an island and not worry about that side of the ball, basically, which is a great, fantastic advantage to have. Safeties are in a good spot. I like Jordan Fuller played very good last year. Taylor Rapp's still there, who I like. Terrell Burgess was a draft pick that I really liked. Terrell Lewis was a draft pick that I really liked. So they just got a lot of guys that can chip in. And, they play very, very, very good team defense. And as long as, nothing really changes with Raheem Morris coming in, which I don't think it will, then they should be right there again. So, a little segue there. Let's move over to the record prediction and break down the schedule. So there you go. There you see it. There's the low, high, my. 9-8 is what I'm projecting. I also have them the highest kind of ceiling that I have for NFC West teams in this division. I am leaning, even though if you watch all these episodes, I have the Niners winning the division as far as my projections. I'm leaning towards the Rams winning this division. And I think that they have the highest ceiling, kind of one of the lower floors. I think the Seahawks might have the lowest floor, but they're right there with them. And the most potential. I think the Rams have the most potential to win this division. And I will probably be betting on the Rams, even though I am picking the 49ers. It's just because the Niners' schedule is quite easy in my opinion, especially to start the season. And if they can get rolling, then that's obviously very beneficial for that team making the playoffs, winning the division and whatnot. Second best odds to win the division, 2.87 on your money. I think that's a good bet. Very well coached team. And let's go through the schedule here. And like I said, highest ceiling. So week 1, they play Chicago at home. That's a win. Brand new stadium, fans in the stands. I think that they absolutely get that win against Chicago, especially because I fully expect Justin Fields to be the starter week 1, no matter what Matt Nagy says. I'm fully expecting him to be the starter, and rookie quarterback against this defense, don't like it. On the road against Indianapolis, that's a bit of a tougher game for sure, but I do like the Rams to win that game. It's the second, the Indianapolis Colts play at home in week 1 as well. So while I do feel like all home games are going to be a little more of an advantage than they usually are, just because of what's happened with the world and where we are, and there's fans finally back in the stadium and they're going to be rabid, I'm telling you. But what I'm kind of thinking is they might. I'm not going to say they're just going to like completely blow their wad in the first game, but there's some potential of that happening, and this Rams team is very, very good. So I could see the Rams going in there and winning that game. At home against Tampa Bay, very, very tough game. The Bucs are just fantastic. They're the best. They are the best team in the world right now. I mean, they're the Super Bowl champs. And they're one of the best teams in the league. So that's definitely a tough game, one that they can lose. Just for, making it easy on myself and projecting, I gave home and home splits with the Cardinals, Seahawks, and the 49ers. So will they get the win against Arizona? If they're 3-1 in their first, quarter of the season, it's not quarters anymore, but you get what I'm getting at. That's a great start. I think that's a fantastic start, especially when they get that division win at home. On the road against Seattle, short week on the road, Thursday game. I think they probably take that loss and Seattle gets the win. On the road against the Giants, I think that they're the better team. I think the Rams are absolutely the better team, and I think they absolutely can, and I think they will get that win. At home against Detroit, they're going to beat up on the Detroit Lions, especially, in LA, with Matt Stafford playing his former team. I think that the Rams absolutely beat up on the Lions. Everybody's going to beat the Houston Texans at home or away. It doesn't matter. The Rams are going to win that game. At home against Tennessee, very, very good game. Considering it's at home, I'm going to give the edge to the Rams. I think that the Titans are a very good team, a very, very good team. But with this defense, if, they're with Ramsey being able to lock down probably A.J. Brown, their secondary is very good for the Rams, and they're going to be able to keep up, and they can stop the run. I think that they can get that win at home. We'll give them the loss against the 49ers on the road. I'm okay with just looking at it that way. Week 11 bye week, I think that's a great bye week for a playoff team, which I expect the Rams to be. So that's a good time to catch your breath. You should be a winning team, for sure a winning team, thinking about winning the division, going to the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. So great spot to have your bye week. On the road against Green Bay, tough game. It's that if Aaron Rodgers isn't with the Packers, which I fully expect him to be a Packer, if he's not, the Rams absolutely get that win. If he is, I still think the Rams are having a really good shot at getting that win. Late November, we'll see what the weather's like come game time in that one, but it's still a winnable game for this team, a very, very winnable game. I'm not that's going to fringe where they go low, high, my type of thing. At home against Jacksonville Jaguars, they get that win. On the road against Arizona, they split. At home against Seattle, they get that win with the split. On the road against Minnesota, that's a tough one. Again, very winnable game. One that I think they can win. Low, high, my. You see what I'm getting at. On the road against Baltimore, same thing. Very winnable, but on the road, low, high, my. They're all west to east, tough games. I'm not saying they're going to win or lose. So, I think, and then finish the season, at home against the 49ers. I think that there's a very good potential, very, very good potential that week 18 game against the San Francisco 49ers decides this division. It's at home for the Rams. You see what I'm getting at? So if, rolling through that, you can see where I'm getting at. Realistically, I think I was conservative. I think I was absolutely conservative with my projection there, but I could easily see them, being closer to the high than my low, if that makes, should make sense. So yeah, I think there's very good potential that they win this division. I think they're very much, it's weird, but I think they're very improved. Like, shouldn't say it's weird because obviously they brought in Matt Stafford, they upgraded there and really didn't lose anything, but they did on the defensive side of the ball. But I think that there's guys that can step in and fill those roles, even if it's on a rotational basis. I think they could just fill those roles. Like, if you look at it like baseball terms, we need, 100 RBIs, we need this, that's what we need. It doesn't matter who the person is. And I think that that's what they can do is just, plug and play and fill in those roles and, achieve those stat lines, for the team, essentially. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's a lot to chew on with this Rams team this year. I'm actually very excited to watch this team. I really am. I think they're going to be a team to watch. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. There's your breakdown and record prediction for the 2021 Los Angeles Rams.